Isaac Newton's third law states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And in my life, ever since I learned that phrase or theorem in my 10th grade physics class, I've realized that all of my effort is equal to the outcome that I want. So, however much effort I put into something, the reward is equal to that effort. And that can be applied to every single aspect of your life: homework, school, job, studying, sports, gaming, whatever task that you're working on. The outcome of that is completely and solely based on how much dedication and effort you're putting into it. And a lot of people might disagree. They might say, "Oh, there's always, things that are not in my control when I'm doing something." Like I, you know, I had a task at school, I had homework, and I couldn't complete it on time. But meanwhile, they spent 2 hours playing video games one night, um, when it was due a week later. It's due a week later, and you wait to the last second, and you realize to yourself, okay, hey, I was playing 2 hours of video games every single day. Maybe if I spent X amount of time on the assignment, I could have got it done instead of waiting to the last second to complete it, right? And that's another huge thing that I want to talk about is just the importance of being urgent, and that tying into achieving your goals and achieving the results that you want, and Newton's third law. And in order to have Newton's third law apply to your life, you also need to be urgent. You need to act on your goals. You need to realize to yourself that, like, the people that really want it, they treat everything as if it's like do or die. And this mentality is just so applicable to any aspect in your life if you're looking to improve something. If you're skinny and you want to get bigger and you want to put on muscle, you need to just go to the gym, and you need to do it every day. You need to compound those gains every single day. 1% every single day is better than literally just doing nothing about it. Like, most people will sit there and they'll see a video and they'll be like, man, wow, I wish that was nice. And they are 365 1% every single day away from achieving that. They think it's so far out of reach from them, but they don't realize that over time, over being consistent, that it really isn't as far as they think it is. And if I keep using the gym as an example, once you start going to the gym, and once you start seeing the results in your physique and yourself, you become obsessed. You become obsessed with the progress. You become obsessed with the fact that you are visually seeing your effort being transformed into your body and into the weight that you start to push and the muscle that you're putting on your body, etc., etc. And this doesn't just apply to the gym, right? Like, this will apply to any single thing in your life. You want to do better at math. People say, oh man, I suck at math. Math is my thing. Science isn't my thing. Playing an instrument is my thing. Sports isn't my thing. Man, I suck at sports. Maybe if you didn't tell yourself that you suck at sports, you wouldn't convince yourself inherently that you're bad at sports, right? Nobody is just completely inherently bad at something, right? Before I started taking university level math classes, etc., I thought to myself, I'm not the best at math, right? But once I actually sat down every single day for hours on end, rehearsing, redoing, practicing problems, constantly looking for new practice problems, go through the entire sheet, do all the practice problems, go to the professor, can I get more practice problems? He says there's no more. Go look online, more practice problems for the specific task that you're doing. Do you want it that bad? You don't want it that bad if you don't want to reach out when someone's not asking you to do something. You will 90% of the time only do something because someone else asks you to do it. And it's really important to be able to take it to the next level and to take action on yourself, because you will feel so much better when you see the reward for your actions. And man, as stupid as an example as this is, when I was younger, my whole life, I've been obsessed with video games. But during the COVID era in 2020, when Valorant just came out, I wasn't the best at video games. I was good. I had been playing for a little bit. I was a mediocre gamer, whatever. But there, during that COVID period, there was a time where, nobody was doing anything. School was online. Everyone was on Zoom. There was no responsibilities, no work, nothing. So we had to fill our days with something. So I would just play Valorant and play and play and play and play Valorant every single day. And I ended up becoming Radiant, and I ended up becoming top 500 in North America. And in anything that I've ever done, in all of my achievements, getting a degree, graduating high school, achieving a bunch of different things, getting Radiant in Valorant made me realize that you are really not that far from becoming the best at something in comparison to everyone else as you think you are. There's starting, and then there's becoming the best, and in between that is just slightly getting better every single day. And for some people it might take longer, for some people it might take shorter, but you will never get to that point if you don't start and you don't stay. Almost everybody stops, or they just decide that mediocrity is okay with them, and that they can just be okay with remaining at that point. I don't know. That's not me. I don't want to be mediocre. I don't want to be mediocre at anything. Maybe I'll be mediocre at some things, right? Jack of all trades, but master of none. I can be good at some things, but not really good at one. But I learned from that it's possible to be that best at something if you just literally become obsessed with it. You just obsess over it. It's nothing else matters. It's all you do. It's a stupid example to say that, man, being good at a video game was really good for me and it taught me so much. Man, that's not whatever. It's just the example, right? Maybe it could have been whatever. I was good at basketball too. I used to practice all the time and I was really good. I could dunk, I could do whatever. I was scoring points, I was really good at shooting threes, whatever. But that's because I would dribble all the time. I would shoot all the time. I'd play basketball every single day over and over again, right? And I would start to realize that, hey, I'm getting good at these things because I'm literally putting in the effort. I'm putting in so much effort, and it's like, wow, the amount of dopamine I'm getting from being rewarded for it is just, it's crazy. And you become obsessed with improving yourself and improving different aspects of your life. Like, what's the point in being average? You have one chance to be on Earth, and you just want to choose mediocrity in comparison to being great at something. And it's the same thing with people like celebrities, famous people at whatever, for whatever. People think they're so out of reach from that, and they think they're so out of reach and that these people are glory and they're better than everyone, and for some reason they are almighty in comparison to them. But these people were no better than you at one point in your life. They just took action and you haven't, right? Maybe some of them didn't take action. Maybe they were born into it, right? But that's not your fault. And for the people who sit there, oh man, and then they complain, man, I wasn't born into it, so I can never have it, right? That's just completely wrong. Anyone who has a victim mentality is wrong. And I think it's just good to be obsessed with whatever you're doing, even the small things, man, right? Like just getting up, having a good day, making sure you're doing something productive, making sure that if you're given something, you do your best, and then you think about after, once you get the result from it, you think, you think back and you think to yourself, did I do the best? Maybe you didn't get the best result that you wanted, but you look back at it and you say to yourself, man, I actually tried and I did my best. And I can see that I did my best because look at all the X amount of work that I did. All of this work was put in and I got this result. And you know what? Maybe it's not the best result, but I'm okay with it because I tried, right? Sometimes I don't get the best result, but I genuinely tried, and no one can just knock you for trying, right? And if someone knocks you for trying, they clearly have some sort of insecurity that they can't comprehend and that they're just coping with by saying, you suck at something, whatever, right? And I think it's just important to realize that you are in control. It's your life, right? You choose your friends. You choose whatever, right? If you want to be better at something, you go and you be better at it, right? And I'm not saying you have to become the greatest at something. You just have to start and you just have to do it. If one person from this video can start something that they've been putting off and can act on it consistently, then I've succeeded in the idea of me just posting this. You know what I mean? And that's what I want. I want one person to listen and just be like, man, maybe I don't put my best effort into these things, and maybe I should. Maybe I should look and I should think back as, man, I don't actually put as much effort as I really could into this. I work at the gym. I go to the gym, but, I could have done a couple more reps. And that's what I want you to realize. I want someone to think, man, I could have done a couple more reps. And then they go the next time and they do a couple more reps and they feel better and they get the results that they want because they tried. And that's all that matters, is that you try. And if you're trying, you try your hardest, because it's more important to try than just to not, And just to be grateful for the fact that you actually have the opportunity in life to try. We are given the gift to try.